constantly change, but the fundamental elements remain: the crime, the investigation, the resolution, and the ticking of the clock. It may not be tidy, it may not be nice, it may be bloody miserable, but justice is normally done. From my point of view, I was fascinated with how other writers approach their craft. Some are plotters, and some are pantsers, writing by the seat of their pants. Some are pioneers, and some are settlers. Some write what they know, and others go to extraordinary lengths for the sake of their research, including being strangled to the point of unconsciousness. After reading these essays, I knew these writers better because I learned about the highs and lows, as well as the nuts and bolts of their working lives. Some stumbled into crime writing by accident, while others grew up steeped in the genre, being suckled by Highsmith, Spillane, or Ludlam. For most of us, it began as a passionate hobby and grew into something more. Those of us who read crime fiction and true crime stories appreciate these efforts because we take pleasure in the details and we love seeing the patterns behind the details. Fierce mental energy is needed to expose the lies and resolve the contradictions, to pull off the false beards and interrogate witnesses and interpret the evidence. We also know that most modern crime stories are more than just mysteries. They are laden with information about people, environments, politics, the law, and much more. One week, we can be on the mean streets of Los Angeles with Harry Bosch, or the back alleys of Edinburgh with John Rebus, or the canals of Venice with Commissario Brunetti. Crime stories allow us to escape from our daily lives and provide us with the reassurance that we can cope with our daily lives. They show us of best and worst of human nature and allow us to question how we would react in similar circumstances. Author Sue Grafton summed it up when she said, "A crime story is more than a novel, more than a compelling account of people whose fates engages us. The mystery is a means by which we can explore vicariously the perplexing questions of crime, guilt and innocence, violence and justice." So consider yourself warned before you begin digging up the bodies. Our secrets are now yours. And remember what Stephen King said when asked why he wrote about such gruesome subjects. Why do you assume I have a choice? Michael Robotham. All profits from this book go towards the Australian Crime Writers Association, which runs the annual Ned Kelly Awards and was established to promote crime writing and reading in Australia. If you'd like to learn more about the ACWA and see the benefits of membership, go to our website www.ozcrimewriters.com. Keep the Bodies Comin' by Shane Maloney. So far, I've killed around 17 people. It's hard to be completely sure without digging them up and counting them all, but I've been at it for a while now, and it has to be somewhere in the high teens minimum. Among others, I've dispatched a leading hand storeman, a promising young athlete, a talented painter, a shifty property developer, an abalone poacher, the owner of a trattoria in Moonee Ponds, a senior union official, a refrigeration mechanic, a public policy analyst, a gym jockey, and both sons of a trucking magnate. I've frozen, drowned, bludgeoned, shot, speared, squashed, run down and incinerated them. And I still haven't finished. Lead a life like mine, and you're under constant pressure to keep the bodies coming. Some of those who died were innocent victims. Some were only getting what they deserved. Mostly, I kill men. The one time I killed a woman, it cost me a lot of grief. I dressed it up to make it look like an accident, but it was entirely deliberate. Her loss was indispensable to the advancement of the story, so she had to die. Perhaps at this point I should say that I'm not an inherently violent person. My childhood was not spent torturing caterpillars. My mother was not killed in a bizarre sex slaying on a vacant lot in Pasadena. My inner demons keep mainly to themselves. I'd never dream of stabbing someone over and over again in the eye with a shard of broken glass, then kicking him until his spleen came out of his ears, no matter how much he might happen to deserve it. I didn't deliberately set out to become a serial killer. My homicidal rampage began entirely innocently, but it's a well-known fact that these things have a tendency to get out of hand. One thing leads to another, and God knows where it will all end. Death has a life of its own. It all began when I decided to write